Good morning. Those of you, which apparently several of you were not here last week, I was also not here last week. Unfortunately, I just couldn't make it. So in penance of my absence, my very first actual meeting, I will be doing the rare pleasure four-way test this morning. So if you will bow with me. Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for the day that you have given us. We are grateful for the organization that we have come around here so that we can serve the communities, both locally, nationally, and internationally, in a world that desperately needs service. Help us to be the models of what service looks like, to reach out and touch so many lives that it's just immeasurable from the little things that we do here at this club. Thank you for my friends gathered around. Thank you for the opportunities that lay ahead. And thank you for the blessings you have given us. May they be for your glory and not for our own. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the four-way test, and I'll be nice to you guys. First,
is it the truth?
Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth,
will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very, very much. First off, do we have any guests today? I don't see any guests other than our speaker. No? Okay. Again, thanks for everyone who did come to the club social on Thursday evening. If you missed it, you missed a grand old time at Chewy's. I appreciate Rhonda for covering for me last week, both in the morning and in the evening. Fantastic to have Rotarians that you can count on. A couple of real quick announcements. Wait, is this did you do birthdays last?
I did not.
Okay, I don't even know who's got a birthday.
I can pull up the DACDB on my mobile app.
Oh, that would be
and
fantastic.
it lets you know.
That would have been the plan last week, but we're going for it. Steve, you kind of got some responsibilities already today.
Well, I'm looking to see if anybody's trying to stand up. If you've got a July birthday without having to be called out by the past president. Does anybody have a July birthday?
No. Really?
I guess we're striking out.
No, there are birthdays. I know there are. I saw them. Okay.
No, if you're not.
Lane, are you just ignoring?
Oh,
So,
Miles, really?
Oh my God!
Miles Lane, Dana Smith, Libby Watson, and Jimmy Bishop.
Okay.
All right, Miles.
Let's go, Miles.
So we can sing to Miles.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Miles. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks, Miles. You did really good at hiding it, though.
He didn't flinch. He didn't budge.
Nothing at all. Couple of announcements that I have. You guys got the email about the potential RLI that was happening in Smyrna in mid-August. A few of you said that you were really interested in attending. Unfortunately, that event has been canceled, postponed, or whatever the case may be. I just found out about that yesterday afternoon. So if you are still interested in attending RLI, there is one coming up in September in Tullahoma, so it's not really that far away. It's better than driving up into northeast Middle Tennessee, where you got to go around the lake one way or the other, which is where they normally are. So if you are interested in attending RLI, or if you want more information about RLI, please come see me, and we'll get you all the details on that. Also, in the connector, there's the Stuff the Bus event that the United Way is having this next week. No, 2 weeks. I'm sorry. That's when it is. Anyway, check the connector because Daniel's on top of that much more so than I am. Any other announcements that we have? Rhonda.
Yes. Come up here. Sandra Smith is our community service chair, and she contacted me yesterday and wanted me to make this announcement. We had, as you know, we've been supporting Project Transformation, which does a faith-based, they do summer reading camps. They have 2 sites in Rutherford County, one at Smyrna, First United Methodist, and one here in town at First Cumberland Presbyterian. We have supported them in the past. They've been a recipient of our special grants. We've had volunteers go and read with the kids. Dawn O'Gwen and I took dinner to the college interns at Wesley Foundation one night, had a good time. I had a good time. Did you have a good time? Okay, good. Chatting with them. And so Cassandra had plans to do a book drive. And, you know, things get busy, fell through the cracks. Well, summer reading camp is over next week. So she asked, we're going to pivot. There is a way that we can still support Project Transformation. They have family fun nights. So what they do is at the end of camp, each site has a little party that invites all of the family, the parents of the children that have attended the camp. And the college interns plan it. They get people to donate food. They have games and they have prizes and things like that. So I'll read you what Sandra sent. This summer, Project Transformation Tennessee is hosting college-age young adults interns who live in intentional community while leading programs for children in under-resourced neighborhoods. Founded on a model from Dallas in 1998 and launched in Tennessee in 2012, PT transforms communities through purposeful relationships between children, young adults, and churches. One of the highlights for the kids each summer is a family fun night planned and led by the young adults. We have an opportunity to help fund this event so young adults can plan something truly memorable for the kids and the families they serve. Your donation, no matter the size, will go directly toward making this night special. If you would like to contribute, we will pass the basket this morning. And thank you for helping us invest in the next generation. So I'm just going to send this around. If you feel so led, put it in there. I'm actually having lunch tomorrow with Carrie Yoder, who is the executive director of PT. I serve on the board, so I will take this money to her tomorrow and let the interns, thank you, sir, and let the interns have a little something extra for their party next week with kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Couple of updates. Barbecue committee, you want to give any updates on upcoming meetings or the meeting last week?
Yeah, well, that's the meeting last
Well, that's
week,
true.
So, but we're gonna start meeting on every 2 weeks, just like we always do at the bank, Friday mornings at 7 o'clock. We're gonna start on July 31st, so just a couple, I guess that's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Sound right? That sounds right. So there's a Zoom link. If you don't have it, or if you want to just come by Zoom, or you can always come to the bank at 7 o'clock. I'll be there. So Pinnacle, right up off the square. But yeah, it's almost time to start going.
Let's go
Especially if we're going to hit Bob's goal.
Well, in order,
let's go.
in order to do so,
I need you now.
we do have next year's sponsorship
Look at that.
brochures. And I've got a box of them over here. I've already given some to Bill Taylor. I'm going to bequeath the rest of them to Chris and Taylor and Bob. But please grab some and go ahead and get your businesses on the books for next year. So, yay, go barbecue. What about golf tournament?
It's upcoming, and be sure to get a flyer. It's on September the 30th. It'll be at Oakport Golf Course. So make sure. And also for the goodie bags, if business owners or anybody, if you've got stuff that you'd like to put in goodie bags, advertise your business, or just something you could give away, that would be great. 132 items would be wonderful. If you have those, just see that I get them and get it put in the bags.
75 days until the golf tournament. Hey, we don't give the golf tournament as much celebration as we really should, but that's a huge fundraiser for us, as we all know. So if you play, if you want to sponsor, and you like just riding around on golf carts, it's a great place to do just that. Okay, so one other little administrative announcement is the board meeting will be held next week on Tuesday at the Spivey's house. Thank you to the Spiveys, because y'all don't want to deal with my demon dog at those meetings. So all are welcome to attend, encouraged to attend even. And this will be my first one, so if you want to see me make a fool of myself, more than just once a week on Thursdays, please come to the board meeting. Okay, so I think we have a pretty important other thing that's going to happen today. So if I will ask the Rutherfords to come up, and Bill, is Don participating in this one?
Steve Dix
Steve
and
Dix.
Bob Gerard.
Bob Gerard? Okay.
Hey there.
Morning.
Good to meet you guys. Fellow Rotarians, it's the duty of our Rotary Club to add new members so that we can not only increase our usefulness and influence as a club, but also to extend the spirit of Rotary throughout the community. So today we've got two new members, Thomas Rutherford and Danielle Rutherford. Is this the first time that we've done a husband and wife at the same time? We've got a husband and wife, but I think, okay.
10 years difference between us.
And,
Not age, not age. No, just membership.
Get a bigger fan up there. Oh my goodness. You'll get to tell us some stuff.
What's got to look forward to?
Anyway, Thomas and Danielle, y'all have been elected to membership because Bob Gerard thinks you'd be a good addition to our club. I'm going to impress upon you, you're not only joining our club, but you're joining Rotary International. There's 100, it's in 200 countries, 1.2 million Rotarians around the world, 34,000 clubs. If you travel, it's always fun to go make up and go to a Rotary club in a place. I encourage you to do that sometime. I've been doing it.
Honolulu's a great one.
Honolulu's a great one. Anyway, here's the charge I have for you. Will you promise to uphold the four-way test and to live your life consistent with our Rotary motto, service above self? If you will, please say I will. Everyone, please rise. Thomas and Danielle, in the name of the Breakfast Rotary Club, I now formally admit you into membership. Folks, let's welcome them. We got welcoming gifts, not party gifts, but welcoming gifts. And if we still doing a 2-minute talk?
Yes, but let's get a good photo up, so let's get this stuff out.
We just
Just
move on.
Yeah, let's move on there. There we go, Bob, you be sure to be in it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Oh, excellent.
You may be seated.
President.
Well, all right.
Yeah, let them have that, and then you get away. Okay.
That's okay.
Come on over.
All right.
Good. Well, this is good history there.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies first.
All right.
Ladies first.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 minutes.
Okay.
I got my speech in my back pocket.
Well, all of you, I've spoken here before, so I'm very grateful and excited to be part of this Rotarian opportunity because I have visited multiple ones, but this one is very intentional and there's a lot of good opportunities here. Excuse me, to meet new people, to help the community. And if you know me, I've been a social worker for 27 years, and that's all that I really do is try to connect people, try to help people, but really focus on our community. So I'm looking forward to building new relationships and working together to push everything forward.
And I
And the chauffeur.
Yes, right?
Yeah, and I'm Danielle's chauffeur. I found out when I took her to her Franklin meeting a couple of weeks ago, but we both feel very blessed for this opportunity because I have not got to work in the community I've lived in for 30 years. Because I spent most of my professional life outside of the area. And in the past 6-7 months, as I've come to work with my wife in our business, I've really enjoyed getting out and meeting people on a different level of the community because it's an opportunity I've never had. So I've got to go to several BNI groups and a couple Rotary meetings. And when we were talking, Bill, a couple of weeks ago, this is the most welcoming group, I think, most welcoming room I've walked into in the past 6 or 7 months. So we are very proud for the opportunity to join you in this group. So thank you all very, very much.
We just, you guys stand here the whole meeting.
Yes.
That sound like a statue too.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, last minute, any new other announcements or anything like that we should know about as a club? Going once, going twice. Okay, Josh, you're coming up here. All right, our speaker today, I am actually very, very, very excited to present. Josh has been a good friend of mine for 10 years or so. We actually met through our club and business partner, Middle Tennessee Electric. At that time, it was Middle Tennessee Electric Membership Corporation. But where he was the public information officer, so we got to work a lot together just in work. He left not long after I started working with MTE. I don't think it was a coincidence, but I don't know. To pursue some pastoral opportunities in his life. And then since then, Josh's path has been pretty amazing. I'm going to give a real quick bio here. So Josh Clendenen is the president and CEO of the Guardian Initiative, a Tennessee-based nonprofit focused on combating child trafficking across the globe. Josh is a U.S. Air Force veteran with more than 22 years in the public relations field, specializing in crisis communications and media and community relations. Josh and his wife Yvonne founded the Guardian Initiative in 2025 after numerous trips to Nepal, the Philippines, and Mexico, working with organizations that rescue, rehabilitate, house, and educate vulnerable children and those coming out of child sex trafficking. Josh, can you come up and share with us?
Thank you. Hey, Brooks. I have been a counterpart to Brooks for the last 10 years. I covet your prayers on that. For you to be able to come in or have that longevity, you know what I've dealt with. No, just kidding.
That's okay. So have they.
Exactly. It's great to be here. Thank you guys. Truly, my wife wanted to be here. We have 3 kids. Well, actually, we have 4 kids. One of them's off at church camp. The other 3 are in various things, school camps and things today. So she wasn't able to make it over. I actually had the opportunity to speak when I was with Middle Tennessee Electric at one of the new Rotaries. So I'm a little bit familiar with some of the folks or some of the things with the Rotary here in Murfreesboro. As Brooke said, I worked for Middle for about 5 years. I had a brief stint at TVA. I then went into being the executive pastor at a local church over in Spring Hill, which is where my wife and I live, right over on the north end of Spring Hill, south end of Thompson Station. I've been in Tennessee since 2007, so this is home. I grew up in the Northwest. My wife grew up in Utah. We joined the Air Force separate times, got out pretty close to each other, moved here and just decided, you know what, this is a great place to put down roots. And, we found the one patch of good soil that wasn't filled with stone. And so we just dug roots, and this is where we stay. As Brooke said, we started the Guardian Initiative. Really, we incorporated it 2 years ago. At the beginning of 2005, we really stepped into it full time this year. We are based here. We currently work in 3 countries, and I'll talk a little bit about that as we get going. But in order to really put in perspective what we do and who we are, I have about a 5-minute video I'd love to show you. It really kind of gives you an all-encompassing view of the Guardian Initiative. So that's us. That's the Guardian Initiative in a nutshell. I'm going to talk through some of this a little bit more, and some of the things that I'll probably say, maybe a repeat of what you just heard in that video. So please just bear with me. Our mission is basically to strengthen frontline leaders who protect the innocent, expose the darkness, and fight for every child's right to live free and safe. That's our goal. As was said earlier, we're a 501c3 based here in Tennessee, and what we believe is that every child deserves not only a safe adult but a safe community to protect them, because it's not just about rescue. Don't get me wrong, and this is always something that we tread very lightly when we talk about rescuing is paramount. But if we can find a way to not have to rescue, if we can find a way, if we can get to the root of the cause of the issue, then we actually stop the rescue from needing to happen. But before we pick a fight, this is what we like to say, before we pick a fight, you have to understand what you're fighting against. You heard in the video that human trafficking is one of the fastest growing criminal enterprises in the world. That 50 million person number that it talked about was actually from 5 years ago. So that's just increased exponentially. There's about 27 million people globally that are in some sort of, or 50 million people that are in some sort of modern day slavery. 27 of those are in forced labor. 27 million. Around 22 million of those are in forced marriages. Of that, children make up about 38% of those trafficked. Now, when it comes to what we deal with and the organizations that we partner with, we look at primarily kids that are coming out of sex trafficking. There are some other organizations that we partner with that don't really focus on sex trafficking, but in that realm, girls, obviously, it's pretty safe to say, girls are really the primary ones that are taken for sexual exploitation. But most trafficking, whether it be here in the States or globally, is done by somebody that the child already knows or trusts. And I'm 52, I'll be 52 years old this year. And back when I was younger, in the mid 80s, it was watch out for the big van, someone's gonna pull up and snatch you, stay away from the free candy thing. While that is still important, and while that is still something that happens, what you might be surprised to hear is that most of the grooming, most of the entrance to trafficking now happens online through gaming platforms, through social messaging apps, and through social media. TikTok is actually one of the primary grooming platforms that kids are facing nowadays. Because if you see anything that comes off of TikTok, it starts off very simply. It starts off with, hey, do this TikTok dance. Hey, dress like this celebrity. Hey, now combine those two. Next thing you know, it starts to desensitize kids into what could be trafficking flags. And so now that their inhibitions are lowered, now that they're a little more desensitized to what they should be looking for, they're able to be manipulated and trafficked a whole lot easier. Trafficking is not just being kidnapped by strangers anymore. It often begins with manipulation. It's not just a global issue. It happens right here in the States. Every state has human trafficking cases. As a matter of fact, I have a good friend of mine that is he's a drug and addiction agent that sits out on I-40, and he told me that the two primary corridors, north and south, east and west, I-40 or I-65 and I-40 are two of the prime trafficking routes, not only for narcotics, but also for human trafficking in the state of Tennessee. And actually in this entire region, because it's so much access to everywhere that you need to go. You can get anywhere you need to in the whole southwest region or southeast region by those two corridors. Vulnerable youth typically are the ones that are trafficked. Vulnerable youth, the ones that are in foster care, the ones that come from broken homes, the ones that are homeless, they're the ones that the traffickers go after. What I'm trying to explain to you is that no community, whether it be a global community or that be right here in Middle Tennessee, no community is immune to the effects of human trafficking, of child trafficking. Children don't become victims because they're weak. It's because they typically lack a safe adult to talk to. It's because a lot of them will lack stable families. They won't understand healthy attachments. They don't have a decent education. Oftentimes they don't have community support, or really, if they have trauma, they don't know what trauma-informed care is. And this is why prevention is paramount. Rescue is key, but prevention is paramount. And this is where the Guardian Initiative steps in. Because while rescue matters, prevention will change a generation. We always say, if instead of just asking how do we save more children, maybe we should start asking how do we prevent children from becoming victims in the first place. And instead of continuing to build more orphanages and rescue homes, what if we started to protect or start to strengthen the people that are actually protecting the children? And that's what we do. We equip house parents. We equip caregivers, teachers, local leaders, social workers. These are the people that we come around and pour into, because what we find is that a healthy caregiver, someone who is with these kids, someone who's with someone coming out of human trafficking, if they're healthy, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, if they're healthy, the level of care that they will give is a healthy level. Now think about that. Think about that if you have an employee and your employee comes to you and says, man, I'm just really burned out because I've been burning the candle at both ends. I'm working hard. I'm doing everything that I can. Most people, most bosses would say, okay, hey, let's talk about this. Let's look at your workload. Let's do these things. Let's try and figure out a way to give you a little bit of breathing room. Because that's what we want to do. We want our people to be healthy. Because a healthy person means healthy productivity. So if we can keep them healthy, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take those steps. Now imagine if that employee is saying, hey, I can't come to work today, or hey, I need a little break. That employee saying no means that one kid has to spend another night in hell. That's what these caregivers face every single day. They're dealing with kids and with people that have come out of the ugly underbelly of society, things that we don't want to imagine. And if they say no, someone else stays. Someone else doesn't get rescued. Someone else doesn't have that opportunity to come out and experience what good, healthy relationships are. They don't have the opportunity to get on that road to rehabilitation. These caregivers are running on empty. And that's what we saw. That's what we found, is that when these caregivers are running on empty, sure, they're going to continue to pour out, but the level of care goes from what it could be to what it needs to be just to get by. You heard Maddie say, the woman that was spoke on the video, her name is Maddie. She actually works in the Philippines. She's one of the house moms at one of the organizations we partner with in the Philippines. You heard her say, just somebody seeing us, just somebody saying, hey, you're doing a good job, changes everything. We take that for granted so often. And look, I was in the corporate world I got out of the military in 2007, like I said. So I was in the corporate world basically my entire adult career, if you will, that you take for granted so easily that, people see it. I pay you well, I give you a raise, I give you, a great review, but just to sit down and get eyeball to eyeball with somebody and say, how are you doing? How's your life? How's your family? That's what these people miss because they're short-staffed. They don't have a whole lot. The executive directors that are running a lot of these organizations don't have the time or the opportunity to actually pour into their staff because they have a job to do. And because the need is so overwhelming and so much that they don't have the time just to sit down and say, how are you doing today? How are things with your home? Now, there's some organizations, primarily in the Philippines, that a lot of these people that are these caregivers don't have good home lives. We heard one story when I was there, and also when my wife was in the Philippines, one story of one of the caregivers who would go to work, spend the day with the kids, and then go home to an abusive home life. So now you're dealing with kids that are abused, and you can't even deal with your own trauma. You can't even deal with all of that. The Guardian Initiative comes along to help and to generate and to build that, to build those relationships, and to find ways that we can help the leaders of the organizations actually pour into their people more. Caregiver development, leadership coaching, trauma-informed training, child protection education, organizational systems, sustainable planning, and strategic partnerships. We have an organization I'm going to talk about here in a minute in Nepal that they're doing fantastic work. They've been doing it for 25 years. Incredible work. About 135 girls that they've rescued, that they're rehabilitating, that they're walking with. And what they asked us is they said, hey, we need help developing a fundraising plan, a strategic plan that's for fundraising. Can you help us with that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what we think and what we see is if we can say, hey, here's a fundraising plan for you, and that allows them 5 extra minutes, just 5 minutes a day, that they don't have to think about that. They can sit down with one of their employees. Hey, how you doing? 5 minutes. As a leader, they can sit down and just take a breath. And that is so important. Think about the busiest day that you've had and how good it feels to go home, sit down and put your feet up and just check out for 5 minutes. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to give back. We don't want to create a dependence on us. We don't want to go into these organizations and say, hey, we're the Americans, fear not. We're here. We got you. That's not our point. Our point is to go in and help them streamline processes, streamline their capabilities, identify their issues, figure out how to attack their issues one by one, and then step back and create a sustainable practice. We want to expand their local capacity, not create a dependency on us. As I mentioned, we work currently in three countries. We work in Mexico with an organization called Save by Soccer. You may have seen them. There was a couple pictures in the video of them. Save by Soccer is an organization out of San Pedro, Mexico. And what they do is they have a soccer program. It's a faith-based soccer program, and their whole goal is to keep kids out of cartel control because they operate in cartel-controlled areas. So it's to keep them out of the cartels. It's to give them something to learn about, something to look forward to. And for them, as they're teaching kids the fundamentals of soccer, they're also talking to them about God. They're also talking to them about Christianity. In the Philippines, that was a lot of the pictures that you saw there. Philippines, we work with an organization called Sateo Missions. They currently have 12 or 13 kids, so it's a smaller organization, but each of the kids that they have was either actively for sale or being actively sex trafficked. Let that sink in. Now, all of these kids, when I went a couple of years ago, so I think the oldest one that they have now is about 12, thereabouts. And goes all the way down to, they have one, they're starting to receive some kids that may have just been at risk. May have been at risk for trafficking. And one of them, they just received a baby, wasn't trafficked, but was at risk. So they're starting to expand, starting to receive, but 13 kids under the age of 12 that they have. And then the last organization, the one I was just talking about in Nepal, that's Apple of God's Eyes. They have about 135 kids over 5 homes, boys and girls. And each of these kids, the majority of them, not all of them, because some of them were at risk, but a lot of them were actually trafficked from their villages across the open border to India and taken to the brothels in Kolkata. There's one story I'll tell you real quick, and I won't go into deep detail, but there's one woman, her name is Anjali Tamam. And Anjali was trafficked at the age of 12. She's a dear friend of mine. She wrote a book about her experience. It's called Standing in the Way. It's a fantastic book, short read. But she was trafficked at the age of 12 from her village. She was taken to Kolkata, India. She was moved around from brothel to brothel. And then she was rescued and taken to Apple of God's Eyes. Now, Anjali, the cool thing about Anjali is before she was trafficked, her dad had run a school. And so it was always her dream to run a school and to be able to continue her father's legacy. Well, after she was rescued and went through Apple of God's Eyes and through their entire program, she actually moved back to her village. She was instrumental in getting her trafficker convicted, as well as his other people. But here's the kicker. Because he was a government official, his sentence was vacated. So he didn't really do much jail time at all. But she went back to her village, she opened her school. She was able to walk in the calling that she always wanted. To be a principal, to have a school, to be able to talk to kids about trafficking and about the dangers and things like that. And so Anjali is still in her village. Remember I said that her trafficker had his sentence vacated. He's back in that village. And she sees him every day. Matter of fact, when I was there 2 years ago, she actually saw him at the place where they might meet. She actually saw him, and he knows, and she knows. But the point is that she's willing to stand up, but she has no one pouring into her. She has no one saying, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, how's it going? Hey, what can I do for you? That's what the Guardian Initiative does. We have plans to extend into Cambodia and Thailand, but really we're open to operations anywhere that there's a need, anywhere that there's a caregiver that needs something. We're willing to have that conversation. Because what we do is a little bit different. Our approach to fighting trafficking is a little bit different. We don't want to, like I said, we don't want to step in and take over. And we don't want to do it from afar. So what the Guardian Initiative does, and this year is our first stepping stone into that, starting here in about 55 days or so. So early September, we're actually launching what we call Project Resilience. And that we would usually go out and take 2 or 4 week trips. Go to my wife was in the Philippines for 2 months earlier this year. I was in Nepal for a month. And so we would consider that a short-term trip, 30 days, 60 days, whatever the case may be. What we're doing is we're actually going to Kathmandu, and we're leaving in September, and we're going to be gone for 9 months. Because what we found is the only way to do this and do it right is to actually embed with the organizations. So we're going to go and we're going to partner with Apple of God's Eyes. But it's not just my wife and I. I told you at the beginning, we have 4 kids and 2 dogs. And we're taking the whole crew. Because what we found is, and what we feel is that our kids not only need to see this, but they also have their own piece of the puzzle. They also have the opportunity to help model what healthy family, healthy relationships will look like. I have a 15-year-old son, 10-year-old daughter, 6-year-old son, 5-year-old daughter. So, we span the gamut, and we're taking them all. And they're all super excited. But that's what we want to do is we're going to go and we're going to spend 9 months. Ultimately, we'd like to spend a year, but just because of different visa requirements, we can only spend 9 months. So we'll go out, we'll do that, and then we'll come back. And we'll go into kind of a maintenance mode where we'll still be reaching out. We'll still take shorter trips to make sure that everybody's doing okay, follow up. But then we'll spend 12 months, 18 months, basically my son's senior year, we'll spend that going through and fundraising, and then we go back out. So that's the way that we do it, is we take a year out. Every other year, we're going. Every other year, we're starting somewhere new. We're spending the time. We're spending the time, we're embedding with these people, because if we can touch their soul, if we can touch their heart, if we can just see them, we know that that can change the care that some of these kids give. It's not about us coming in to fix the problems. It's about us helping the local leadership and local organizations become stronger, to be able to do what they're called to do. It's about soul care. It's about seeing who they are, understanding their problems, and just being a good ear to listen. I'll close with this. Every child needs a guardian. They don't need more heroes. We have heroes, superheroes, all the stuff. They need somebody who cares. They need safe adults. They need healthy caregivers that ultimately become their strong families. And this is why the Guardian Initiative exists, to rescue the rescuers from burnout, isolation, and loneliness, so that they can ultimately provide a better level of care. It's our job to see the unseen and to acknowledge them. I thank you guys for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to fire them at me. I am here, but I do appreciate your time to just sit and listen. Yes, sir.
Did you say your agency also serves here in the States?
We do. We're actually, we're working on our programs to develop for here in the States. I was just talking to Brooks earlier, we actually have a meeting this afternoon with NAHT that we're going to go up and meet with them. There's a couple other anti-trafficking organizations that we're looking forward to connecting with here in the state, here in the local Middle-Tennessee area.
Very neat. And could you speak to distinguishing a little bit for us the difference between what trafficking may look like, say, in the Nepal,
Sure.
Cambodia, and right here, say, in Murfreesboro?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great question. Trafficking is primarily, we'll say Nepal, because that's where we're getting ready to go. Trafficking in Nepal is very interesting because often there's a lower education level, there's a higher poverty level, and what will happen, and is in the case of a lot of these kids that were trafficked out of these villages, is that a trafficker will go into the village and say, and strike up a conversation. Hey, remember me? I'm your cousin from such and such, or I'm your cousin's friend. And they start to use this manipulative language on people who may not have a great education. Hey, I have somebody that's in the city. Send your kids with me. We'll put them to work. We'll send you money back. And the parents don't realize it because they're in such poverty. They're like, okay, if I can send my 13-year-old daughter to work at a restaurant or at the laundry that you've made this case that you have, then all of a sudden I'm going to get money, and they never see their kids again. They send them right into trafficking, send them right to brothels, and they're gone. Here in the States, it's a little bit different. Oftentimes in the States, it's kids are trafficked by someone that they know, somebody that, family members is a big thing. But what the States really has a problem with, more so, yes, there is a huge human trafficking problem. I won't minimize that at all. What the States really has a problem with is online digital exploitation. That's what the biggest thing is. So right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, you could probably, I don't even know how you do it, but right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, there are people who are downloading, purchasing, and sharing online digital exploitation of children. The United States is actually one of the #1 consumers of online digital exploitation. So it may look a little bit different. There may not be the physical pieces here, but there is the consumption piece. And the physical pieces here may be tucked away because it's a lot harder to get away with exploiting a child in the States because of laws, because of robust internet network. It's a little bit harder to do than it is somewhere else where you can bribe a local official, things like that. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I probably should have prefaced with, I actually work for NAHT.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So we're heading up to see I'll pick my wife
I
up.
didn't know we were connecting with you today. I didn't
Yeah.
calendar you, but I wanted to hear from your perspective, from the overseas perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. Other questions?
He slipped in under the radar.
No, that's
I was going
great. I
to
love
introduce
it.
you guys this morning. but-
No, that's fantastic. We'll be up there here in a couple hours. Yeah. Sir.
How do you approach the prevention piece? piece? You mentioned TikTok, like what, is it an education
It
piece for
is.
caregivers and children?
It is, absolutely. It's really, what we're hoping to develop as far as what we do in the States is really gonna be more of a prevention piece, more of an understanding. We're in the process of developing a toolkit for parents, what to look for, what to watch out for. Partnering with agencies that are already doing it, it doesn't make sense to us to recreate the wheel, so if we can find organizations that are talking about it, that's what we want to partner with. But it really does. It comes down to talking to the parents, allowing the parents to understand this is what happens. And really it's a reprogramming, trying to reprogram the mindset of the parents to not just say yes, or just because other kids do it, keep your kids off social media. That's the hard thing. My son is 15 years old, doesn't have social media, hates it. Dad, I want Snapchat, I want that. Absolutely not. You can't even have YouTube, man, because.
We have the 15-year-old daughter that's the other way.
Yeah, exactly. So our oldest is, she's 25 and just had our first grandbaby, but she was the same way. I want Instagram. Okay, so she had all those things. This one, we're like, pump the brakes. Absolutely not. And he hates it. I'm behind the gun. Sorry, man. So yes, that's how we approach prevention. It's about education. It's about educating not only the kids about the dangers, because they're desensitized to so much of it. They're desensitized to the violence, to the reality of things. So talking to them about that, but also talking to the parents. This is what could happen.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You had said that 30-some% are humans are trafficked for sex.
Yes.
What are the other reasons that humans
Sure.
are trafficked?
Forced labor. So, one of the real big trafficking pieces that's coming out now, I was in a conference in the Philippines earlier this year. One of the real big things is scam centers, call centers. You can actually look up online. They busted one, I think it was in Laos, that they had, almost 1,000 people that they had brought in. Basically, they'll put out an ad. Someone will say, hey, here's my application. Sure, come on. And then they bring them over. They take their passport. They're stuck. So scam centers, those type of things are really big. So that's forced labor for kids, forced labor, of course, but also forced begging is actually a really big thing. Go out, beg, get money. If you don't bring back enough money, there's consequences. So forced begging, and then forced marriage is another one, forced servitude, and then of course, like I said, sex trafficking.
Okay, I'm sure we've got a lot more questions.
I'll be here.
It's very good. Thank you, Josh, for joining us
Absolutely.
today. Don't go anywhere. Come back. Get out here. Just as a small token, today we want to present you with a challenge point of our 4-way test.
Thank you.
And I think that in your hands, this will be put to good use,
Absolutely.
especially in your world travels.
Yes.
I think because you can imagine of these things, everything that you're doing with your life and taking your family to certainly fits within these 4.
100%.
So in your next year when you're back home, you're going to be driving to Murfreesboro every week as we bring you in as a new member. I'm sure Josh will be able to stay around for a little bit longer to answer any questions specifically. But if there's anything else that you guys need to announce today that you thought, yes, no, maybe? Okay. One real quick thing about next week is that we actually do not have a speaker next week, but that does not mean you get to get out of this, because we actually we're going to call it a club assembly day because we've got a few things that we really need to do to support our club and members of our clubs, and it's going to be kind of a special day. So please make sure that you are here. And if there is a Rotarian that is not sitting at your table, that usually is sitting at your table, maybe pick up the phone, call them and say, hey, you should be here for this next week. Okay, so anything else? We're good. I'm going to close this out. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
And we're done.
All right.